Today in our 2017 Ram 1500 Rebel, we're going to take a look at and show you how to install the Stoplight Switch Kit. This is from Roadmaster. Part number is RM-751467. The reason we need to utilize this is the brake pedal itself goes cold after the vehicle sits for a while. We need the monitor light wire to send a signal whenever this brake pedal moves down. We want a signal to come up to our monitor light and our buzzer that's going to be inside the RV. Our switch will send that signal for us. We simply apply 12-volt power to one side. The other side we'll use for our monitor wire, which you can either run with the jumper to the back of the RV or like we're going to do through the wiring system itself. So when our brake pedal is in its normal position, the plunger here will be held in. Whenever the braking system itself operates the brakes, that pedal moves down. When the pedal moves down, that plunger comes out, and that's going to send signal up to that light inside of our coach. Now, once we have this installed, it's going to be virtually impossible for you to see how the adjustment works. It's basically just going to be the two nuts that we have here. If we loosen this nut up, it allows our plunger to come closer to the bracket. So that would be further away from our brake pedal. If we tighten that up, it brings the plunger in, and that'll press up against our brake pedal. We'll show you how to test it to make sure you're getting the appropriate signal, but that will be your adjustment. The switch should activate with about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch of brake travel. Now the tab that has the 90-degree bend on it, and the single hole is going to be the mounting point for our bracket to the vehicle. And to find the stud that you're going to mount that to, you want to go right up the brake pedal. Here you see the factory brake light switch. We want to go just to the left of that. Right here you can see a stud. Use a 13mm socket. You want to remove that nut. With that removed, our bracket goes right over the stud. And then we want to replace the nut and tighten it back down. You can see there with our bracket in position, as we push our brake pedal, the plunger comes out. As we release it, it goes right back up into the spot there. Now we're ready to connect our wiring to our switch. I'm going to be using two 10-foot pieces of 16-gauge wire. You have a couple pieces that come with the brake light kit switch. They're not going to be long enough, most likely. One of these we need to go to power, the other one needs to go to either the front of the vehicle, or in our case we're going to be wiring it directly to our vehicle plug. We're going to be using a couple heat shrink butt connectors. These are part number DW05743. Now we'll strip back the wires on our brake light switch here. And those are going to go to the other side of those butt connectors. Now we're going to use a heat source. We're going to use a lighter. You can also use a mini torch, or you could use a heat gun. If you use a lighter, it's just a little bit of heat at a time. Same thing with the torch. You don't want to overheat it. Now to keep these up and out of the way, we're going to go right over top of the non-moving portion of the steering column there. And we'll throw a zip tie around it to keep that secure. Now we can run right up to the large grommet located kind of right on the firewall behind the parking brake here. We want to make just a small cut on the inside here, also on the outside, and we'll pass through a thicker piece of wire, maybe a coat hanger or airline tubing, to draw our wires. Now we'll pull a little bit through the grommet here on the outside. We'll tape our wires off on the inside and pull them on through. Now I'm going to use a couple zip ties and secure these off here. Now with our wires secured off there so it won't move around, we'll use some silicone sealant. We're going to patch that grommet back up that we pulled that through. We'll continue to run our wires. I like to go along the outside edge of the fender well here. There's a channel that a lot of power wires run through, so it'll kind of allow us to do the same thing and keep our wiring protected. Now once we bring that all the way up we should come out right here just in front of the power distribution center. There's a wire loom right here at the corner. It's a good idea to zip tie these off. Now one of the wires, it doesn't matter which one, we're going to bring around the bottom of that power distribution center, which is right here. And we'll zip tie it off to the red cable that comes up inside of it. And we'll trim off our wire to length. We want to strip that back. Now to make our connection, we're going to be using a Kurt fuse holder. We're going to have a small section here. That's going to connect to our power stud right here. The other side, that's going to go to the wire that we trimmed coming up from the switch. Now if you haven't already chose a wire to use, it doesn't matter which one you pick. We're going to use another one of our heat shrink butt connectors there, and also to the wire from the switch. Now on the other side of that fuse holder, we're going to add on a ring terminal. We're going to use one 5/16 of an inch in diameter. It's available on our website. So that's crimped on. Open our cover there. And we'll use a 13mm socket to remove the nut on the stud. Place our ring terminal down over, and then we'll replace that nut. Now we'll get this connector shrank down, and we'll zip tie it off and secure up any excess. Now in our fuse holder, we'll slide in our 10 amp fuse. We're going to cap that off. Let's test it out. And to test it out, we'll just be using a regular test light. You want to ground that off to the negative stud on the battery. We want to touch that to the wires inside. Now we'll have somebody in the car press the brake pedal and our light should come on, and then when they release it, it should go back off. On and off. Just like that. Now you can run this, like we said, up to the front of the vehicle and use the pigtail to connect to your motorhome. But again, we're going to be going to the 6-pole plug on the front of the vehicle. With everything working and adjusted properly, that's going to complete our installation of the Roadmaster Stoplight Switch Kit. Part number is RM-751467. And our 2017 Ram 1500.
Thanks for watching. Click the link in our description below to shop, learn more, or visit us at etrailer.com. And leave us a comment if you have any questions.